Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James, aka the Architect, and with me, as always, Skull Hunter Games, aka Jordan, aka Dongamus Minimus.
Dongamus Minimus. What the fuck? What? Hey, join us. We got Joseph.
Hello.
Alrighty. As you can see, I am back from the store. Unfortunately, they didn't have milk, so I might have to go back. But after a while, I was finally able to find the traffic slowed down. I'm back. We're good now. How's your guys' week's been?
Better that you're back, Dad. It's so much better. Joseph, how's your week been?
Not bad. So just continue on with what happened last week, because my brief e-commerce section for the episode. For those of you who listened to the last episode, we ordered 2 products at the same time. One of them arrived, one of them didn't. The other one arrived, so yay. But the innards were far worse than the lightsaber my girlfriend got. Hers, she would activate it and would have like what's called smooth swing. I'm starting to look into the lightsaber community, and it would go swinging around. Mine goes trying to swing it around. So we contacted AliExpress. The person says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll send you a new core." Who knows how long that's going to take? Could be a week, could be a month. I don't know, but I just wanted to continue on and let people know. I was like, this is what happens when you go to AliExpress. This is why people spend an extra, $100 or an extra 50 to 100% of the price tag. So they don't got to deal with this nonsense. So that was that. We'll see what happens next week. And the other thing that I thought was interesting for me is I had this briefcase. If people who work in sound, they might recognize it. It's hard plastic, and you can carry it with a handle, and it's used to store a gear that needs protecting. So yesterday, on a whim, I cracked it open, and I thought I'm just gonna start taking all of my gear out just to see if maybe having it around me might inspire me to use it more often. And I had forgotten that I had bought these. They're almost like 5-pound weights, both in terms of weight as well as composition. They're supposed to be stands that people use for their microphones. I don't need them, but then I put them together anyways, and I realized I just created 2 maces. Like, these things are actually pretty heavy. If I swung it at a guy's skull, I could crack that skull open. So now, they may or may not be under a person's bed, and that person may or may not be slightly more looking forward to the coming zombie apocalypse. Okay,
so what we got is if you're in Canada, watch out for Joseph, because he's coming for you.
For insider knowledge, for those of you attempting to break in, I have 2. The first will be thrown at you. The second will be used in melee as I attempt to close the gap.
Facts. Act like there's crime in Canada.
Well, there will be in a minute.
It's the opposite problem. Everything in Canada is a crime. The jokes that I can't make.
If only the Canadian government was here in our conversation before we started recording.
Oh God. Hey, my week was good. My week was good. Let's focus on me. Yeah, my week was great. James, what about you?
Well, last week for Halloween, me, the missus, and her sister and her husband, we went to a haunted wine trail. Ooh. It was really cool. So it's basically like this distillery, so it's like a distillery, a brewery, a cidery, and a winery, all 4 different companies that like under the same like branch, all on like a huge plot of land. And you bought a ticket, and you got to go to each one. You got a specific food pairing with each flight. They give you flights, which is really cool. And they weren't like sample cups. They were like full on beverages you could enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like $40 a ticket, but you got probably $100 worth of drinks if you were to go to a bar or something like that. You know what I mean? Plus the food pairing. Plus I got a flatbread. It was really good.
Yeah, I guess you had to walk more though. You're gonna be on your feet for quite a ways.
So no, kind of. I guess depends on who you are. It was about a quarter of a mile walk. So because there's 2 buildings. sorry, two. My camera's higher than normal. So 2 buildings. The cidery and the distillery were in one, and then the brewery and the winery were in another. And they were about quarter mile apart from each other, but it was really fun. I went as things around the house guy, and my wife and her sister went as, and their friend went as the Powderpuff Girls.
That's awesome.
And then I hooked my brother-in-law up. He also went as things around the house guy.
Nice. See, for Halloween, I hate to say it like this, I didn't do anything. I dressed up in an old security uniform and called it a day.
Nice.
But when we actually had like a Halloween event going on in our town, I went, I'm going to dress up first. I took Ghostface mask off the wall and realized that there was a big spider in there, and I went, you can stay there. Literally, the spider is still in the eye, by the way. I want to point that out there. That's how committed I am to the bit. It's still in there. And I just went as Mr. Clean. I put a white t-shirt on, and I grabbed one of my little sister's snapback earrings, put it in one ear, made it look good. I didn't shave my head bald, but I did get it cut. So by technicality, I went as Mr. Clean.
So wait, Mr. Clean or Johnny Sins? Which one are you talking about?
Whatever one brings me to hell. That's the one I'll take. Okay, we'll go with Johnny Sins.
Between Mr. Clean and Johnny Sins. You have to think about that for a second, but yeah, then all comes together. It's like, I could. I don't know. I guess I don't remember if I directly said it or if I just been alluding to it. I guess I said it last time that I went as a Jedi, but I started using Halloween as a way to like prototype cosplay outfits.
Nice.
Yes.
Because the bar for Halloween is pretty low. So however shitty it is, at least I can get it up on its feet.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 weeks or about a week and a half ago. So now is the time to buy your Halloween costumes. Everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm buying a full-on Breath of the Wild Link cosplay outfit with the Sheikah Slate and everything.
Nice.
Sheikah Slate, sorry, with the Sheikah Slate and everything. My wife even braided like the 2 little tails in the front. I put the rest in a low pony. Looked phenomenal.
Nice.
So I'm really excited for next year.
I'm excited.
And by next year, I mean probably once a week or a couple times a month.
You go.
I'm gonna dress up to walk around as Link. If you notice, my Master Sword is missing. I actually gave it to my mother-in-law because she has better materials to put it back together than I do. Because Gorilla Glue did not help.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you gave it to your mother for protection.
I guess I never explored the idea of getting get my girlfriend to dress up as Princess Zelda, because when she puts that stuff on, it's not coming off.
Well, it might.
Well,
Bow chicka bow wow. No, I'm gonna dress up as Chris Redfield's next year. I'm gonna get a cosplay set up for it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I literally started doing my shopping for it already. I have a few clothes designers because the puffy coat is kind of the hard one to get, or puffy vest, but it goes down to your arm a little bit. So I purposely been actually buffing up, getting more physically in shape, and making sure my haircut stays low, make sure everything else stays low, so I can actually get Chris's persona. I've been working on getting my voice deeper and deeper and deeper, so I can try to. I can be a boulder puncher. Let's go. I'm so happy you get that reference. That's great.
I'm so happy that's a reference I get to make. And that's the moment for anybody who had doubted that Resident Evil was taking a break from being horror. That was the moment right there. Mm-hmm. Hey, remember the dog would jump to the window and scare people? Yeah, now he's fighting a boulder and he's winning.
Yeah, he punches it 5 times, he rubs it a little bit the wrong way, and then just
There's actually the original Resident Evil where you actually do have to evade a boulder.
Yeah, Resident Evil 1 remake. Resident Evil 1 the remake.
Yeah. So I know we want to jump onto our first topic, but I just been one thing I wanted to get on record, James, was I assume you listened to the majority, if not the whole, of last week's episode.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear your opinions on the Mario movie. How what from our assessment stuck out to you, and if you have anything you wanted to add to it.
Okay, so one thing, I agree with Chris Pratt playing Mario. There will be some sort of butt humor.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm expecting it. I'm actually fully expecting it to be actually some blatant crude humor that is purposely going to go over the demographics head.
Okay.
Um,
I set up a
also,
bingo card for this.
we should. Obviously, it's going to be an animated movie, right? Like, it would have to be,
That's
right?
the free space.
Yeah. All right. So, with that, I also want to, my opinion, not necessarily opinion, something I kind of hope for is you guys brought up the point that Mario takes place in the real world because he goes to the Olympics, he goes to New York City. You know what I mean? Like, I would like that to happen. I would like to see that happen. You know what I mean? I don't want to see the magical hat that can transform into things. I don't want to see that. Or at least not in this movie. You know what I mean? If this is a movie, like a Mario movie, and it's retconning the 1980s movie that was made, I want this to start from the very beginning. I'm assuming if Donkey Kong's involved, which someone got casted as Donkey Kong, I forget who. I don't have the
Seth
list in front of
Rogen.
me. Seth Rogen, yeah. I'm assuming some reference is going to be made to that. And I'm hoping it's not just like, oh, the gang's all here doing Mario Kart. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I know there's a lot of hesitation right now about it. I actually am optimistic about it. I think it could be entertaining, if not good. I mean, and what's the worst case scenario? It's a video game movie. You know what I mean? So if you go into it saying like it's a video game movie, because like what 98% of video game movies are not great. So it's like, well, it was a video game movie. What did I expect? But if you leave the movie theater or your home streaming service that it might come out on, you're gonna be like, oh, that was all right.
I
You know what I mean?
I think the best part about 2020 is it really lowered our expectations for movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's been a great part.
I've been waiting on Maverick forever. I'm a huge Top Gun guy. I have like 3 Top Gun shirts. It's probably my third favorite, if not second favorite, Tom Cruise movie.
Nice.
First being
War of the Worlds.
No, no.
He is good in that one, though. No, we're being invaded from outsiders. You mean Europe? No, Robbie, not Europe.
A few good men.
Anyway, sorry.
A Few Good Men is probably my favorite Tom Cruise movie.
Oh yeah, okay.
Speaking of things that would not make. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was just gonna make a crappy segue.
I don't know. The more I think about it, and I hope I have a change of heart on this, but right now I'm kind of rooting for the Mario movie to not do well, just because of the actors, and it's like there's no less than I think 100. No, I'd say like 1,000 people on the planet who can do a perfect Mario voice, perfect Peach, perfect Bowser, any of the characters.
And none of them
The more animalistic, the more of a gray area it gets. But I truly think that like if it was really about the characters first, they would have done a different system and just really try to nail the part, because I think all of these characters are marketable on their own. So I've seen one of Chris Pratt's behind the scenes video. He loves Mario. He's excited. He's working hard. So I guess for that reason, I'll take that back and say, okay, I want to see it do well for his sake. But I think overall, I just don't want to see this precedent set where it's focused on the external star power when the games themselves have enough star power to go ahead and the money they would save hiring no names they could put towards a much more ambitious movie, I think.
I want to see a movie that's generated by only people on TikTok, like only like voice actors and stuff like that.
Didn't they
only
try
from
that?
TikTok.
Didn't they make like a sitcom on Netflix or something like that using TikTok stars, and it flopped horribly?
Because it didn't have me.
Well, it had like the D'Amelios in it, and
no one cares about them.
Apparently enough people do.
I think it was a Super Bowl. I was watching one of them, and they had these like ASMR. It was like a Reese's Pieces ASMR
Oh, yeah.
campaign, and they got a bunch of ASMR artists. ASMR artists. I just made that
Yeah.
up just now, and,
Yeah, I
and they're all
listen.
doing the ASMR thing. And so, how do you want to open up your Reese's package? Do you want to open it up slowly, like tick, 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 tick? And God bless them for their for getting into that industry. But I look at ASMR and think, man, that seems easy.
Just sit there and touch your mic for an hour.
There's a few that I listen to that help me fall asleep when I have troubles. It's not bad. I give credit to where I give credit to them. I mean, like you said, I don't think it's hard, but I mean, it's a niche market. It's one of those niche things to get into. Like,
It's helpful. It does a lot of people a lot of good. So I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It doesn't do a lot of people a lot of good.
This segue.
Apparently, thank you, based Jordan. Apparently, making ROMs for Nintendo games is a very niche market, or at least it's going to be now. Consider the fact that one of the head ROM makers, ironically enough, does anyone want to guess what his last name is?
Dick.
Huh? No, his name. All right, so I'm going to explain the story, and then I'll tell you what his name is, because this name is fantastic.
Okay.
This gentleman ran a site where you could mod your Switch and you'd be able to get ROMs. Like, he made like a little device that you could put into your Switch, and you'd be able to access ROMs and stuff like that without having to pay. Well, Nintendo found out, it was like, hey, stop that. And then this gentleman said no. And so they took him to court. Moral of the story is he actually he pled guilty to piracy charges, and he has to owe Nintendo $4.5 million.
Ooh, I just read the article. Okay. There's no way I would have guessed that, but I see where you're going with it.
Is his name Ram? Rom?
No.
Ramen?
He has to pay Nintendo a ton of money. This Canadian native is named Gary Bowser.
Son of a... I wouldn't have guessed that. That's fake.
That is
that's
the enemy.
Fake. That's
Bowser
Because
is
the president of Nintendo of America is also, like, his name is Doug Bowser.
that's, but
Just makes me think like Nintendo is like going through their dark times arc right now.
it's not a phase, Mom.
it's not a phase.
But yeah, so I can ask you guys' opinions. So I'm going to. ROMs. First off, where do you guys stand on ROMs? Let's ask that. Where do you guys stand on ROMs? And do you think Nintendo really suffered this much damages from these ROMs?
I mean, there's a whole bunch of different points to make. So as far as ROMs go, I don't have a problem with them. I mean, I do pay for like 99% of the things I use. So most of my games are paid for. I buy my music. I pay for my movies on YouTube. I only resort to sailing the high seas if something is just inaccessible in no other way. And I keep thinking back to this Gabe Newell quote. He said, like 95, what he didn't say that, but the main reason why people pirate things is just lack of convenience. People are more than willing to pay a decent amount of money so they can actually access the things they want in a way that doesn't cause a headache. So like I bought Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, and I was disappointed because the performance on that system was garbage. It's like they optimized it for the Switch and just kind of hoped that the Wii U people wouldn't notice or care. Well, we did, and we do. So I said, you know what? One of these days, I'm going to upgrade my computer, and I've got a Wii U, and I've got the game. There's nothing stopping. There's no reason why I shouldn't be allowed to emulate this. I'm not hurt. Like, I'm not committing a crime. It's my copy, my copy. Mm-hmm. I do think that, when somebody decides to access a game that they could potentially access in however, even if it's less than convenient, there isn't really a standing argument for why it's okay to do that. This is premium content that's expected to be bought. And the publisher, even if they made it 20 years ago, they have the right to continue to protect their investment. I don't think it's right for companies to be punished for creating stuff that continues to be valuable and sought after. You know, oh yeah, this game is 20 years old. This game is 25 years old. It was on a Super Nintendo. That in of itself negates having to pay for it. Well, no, it should still be it should still be paid for. I mean, why you don't want to disincentivize making games that hold up over time? And one of the main ways to incentivize that is for it to continue to be profitable. Blizzard games, most of the Blizzard games you want to go buy, you still have to pay full price. Still gonna pay full price for most Nintendo games. I think Mario Kart on the Wii U probably still have to pay like $40 for it. So I don't know. We've all done it. I still sail the high seas. It's not a hill I'm really willing to die on. But if you really get down to like, you know, the corporate speak, you can't justify it, and you can't stand on these like, oh well, you know, I can't get it. Well, if you can't get it, you can't get it. Too bad. You have to do something else. There's millions of hours of content. There's hundreds of thousands of games, many of which are free, that are vying for your attention. So, you know, you do that instead.
Yeah, definitely, and especially with the ROMs, like you were saying, is, you know, you would still, you know, pay for your stuff. But when it comes to my opinion on it, it's, if you're paying for it still, yeah, but when it's all said and done, though, what stops you from trying to get a cheaper price, paying someone else for it, and they're just doing the same thing, except you could have got it for free then? That guy is not giving it back to the creators. That guy's not giving it back to anyone. He's pocketing it. He made all that money because he stole it first, and now he's making money off it. So that's kind of how I feel, because it's like, okay, I could just get it for free, but now
it's like taxes.
Yeah, it's like taxes. But you know, when it's said and done, I would not sit there if I know that, hey, I'm gonna pay this guy from an alleyway with free candy on the side of his van $20 for a game that I know, unfortunately, I can go online and get for free, and there's a little donate button, donate like $5, I would rather do that. And that's just the kind of person I am. I was raised as a cheapskate. That's what I'll do. I mean, if I can get it for free, I'm going to get it for free. I can't tell you how many PS1 games I scam people out of. There was a lot. There was a lot.
So, well, that's how I feel. I'm in the same boat with Joseph, like on Parsec. I own those. I own those games on the PS2 when I was a kid. I own that copy. I'm gonna play it on my computer.
Yeah, I downloaded the Super Mario 64 ROM. I bought that game. I never intentionally got rid of it. My cousins lost it, so I'm not buying that one again just to check a box. So I totally agree with.
Yeah.
Well, while
100%.
we're talking about this, I'll say it. Nintendo introduced their expansion pass to their online services, which included some things for like the new Animal Crossing and stuff like that. But most importantly, it came with a Sega Genesis and a Nintendo 64 ROM set. And I was like, I'm not paying another $50 on top of the $50 a year I already pay for Nintendo Online. So I was like, I might put on my black triangle hat with the Jolly Roger on it. And then I was like, no, because here's the thing. Even though I own the Nintendo 64, and even though I own those games once, it would be nice to have those games on the Switch I could play anytime. And I was thinking Super Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time just alone is probably worth the $50 to play on my Switch, you know what I mean, for that convenience.
Mm-hmm.
So, and plus anything on the Sega Genesis, like the old Sonic games, stuff like that. So it's like, all right, and so I didn't brush the dust off the Jolly Roger hat. I put it back in the put it back on the drawer. Said next time, pal. But,
if you look at how hard it, or not hard, but how inconsistent it would be to be an owner of Ocarina of Time. So a Nintendo 64, people get a Nintendo 64, get the cartridge, play it on their CRTs. Eventually, the TVs upgrade, so either you get one of those conversion adapters, or play something more contemporary. And then over time, you end up building more and more, needing more and more space to be able to hold on to this. Ocarina of Time gets re-released as like a promotional disc on the GameCube, so that can hold a person over GameCube and Wii. And then it's on the Virtual Console on the Wii. And then I forget how accessible it was on the Wii U, but I don't think the Wii games were transferable onto the Wii.
I don't think they were.
Because I remember there was a transfer service, so I'm going to say 50-50 on that one. I think it was possible to transfer downloads over. But listen to how hard I'm trying to keep track of something that's supposed to be as simple as, buying and playing a game. I guess I could play it on the DS. For some reason that version of it is like 7 years old, and it hasn't occurred to them to just port that over. And I just find it perplexing that I can't just download the game and own it and be able to carry that over from console to console. So in spite of the point that I made earlier about the game itself as a creative achievement has retained much of its value. It needs tweaking every now and then, but for the most part, it's still a worthy investment of a player's time. But the infrastructure is a nightmare, and it's a mess. And I can understand why players are just going to grab the game, as an act of protest at the very least. I get that for sure. It's such a simple business model that they're overlooking, and I don't understand that aspect of it, other than, as Arthur would say, corporate greed. If they want to funnel people into this payment system, because here's the thing. They want it's an online service, and in order to maintain these servers and to maintain the streaming the data for Nintendo 64 games, which they don't take up as much space as Super Nintendo, but still more so, they need enough people to buy into it. Otherwise, the servers are going to cost them more than the money they're making. So they need to pressure people to get into it, and one of the ways to do that is those dangling carrots of some of those most sought after games from their library.
Yeah, and so I'm going to try it. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm going to, and then probably next week I'll give my review on those games on the Switch, because I know there's been some issues with performance and latency issues with, like, some people, like on the first puzzle when you go into the deco tree where you have to take the slingshot and you have to hit the little button so the platforms raise back up, but you get across, and if some people are having timing issues with that's not of their own accord.
I sent mine and a friend's GameCube controllers to this customizing place in Texas called Battle Beaver. Shout out Battle Beaver Customs. They did a fine enough job, but I hadn't touched Smash while this controller was out of commission. So it's been like 3 months or so since I went online and played. The online play on Smash Ultimate is a nightmare. It's like, now if I want to get pissed off and channel that energy into motivation to work or something like that, I play Smash Ultimate online. Everyone is either an asshole or lagging or is a lagging asshole.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel that pain. Feel it so bad.
Well, speaking of dangling carrots, this gets you to spend your money and possibly corporate greed. We have news this past week about another major company taking ports over, but this time from console to PC. PlayStation has announced that over the next year or so, they're going to start developing an online PC library for a lot of their exclusives. This is something I'm really excited for, because I think out of the console wars, the console wars really aren't a thing unless you're 12, but if when you're buying a new console, well, if I want something I'm used to and something with an easier interface, I'll go with Xbox. And it transfers over to a lot of things. Like between Xbox, it's really simple. And even on PC, like you can play Xbox games on PC with Microsoft, obviously. Mm-hmm. But if you want great exclusives or great single player games, you're going to buy the PlayStation.
Yep.
And so hearing them say they're going to port a lot of their exclusives to PC, this is fantastic news, I think, for people like me who don't own one of the two major consoles. But like I played Halo. I play Halo on PC. I play some other Xbox games on PC, and I'm probably going to play the new Spider-Man game on PC and stuff like that when it comes out, Bloodborne, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And those are that's just the tip of the iceberg for games that they have that I want to play. Like, if it goes into fruition and they have the entire Uncharted series on PC, guess who's playing through the entire Uncharted series? This guy. So I'm excited about this. I'm gonna hold off on it because I think when it first comes out, it's gonna be riddled with issues, just like any new service when it first starts up.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna wait, and just like we talk about with every brand new game that comes out, you know, can't get in the servers because the servers are they don't expect that much traffic or they can't handle that much traffic. I think it's gonna be the same way with this. So I'm gonna wait and see what happens. But what do you guys think? How do you guys feel about this?
Okay, first thing I want to know is, do we know if it's a subscription-based service yet? Is it like Game Pass?
I would imagine it because they have their PlayStation Plus or whatever it's called. I'm sure it'll be the same thing.
Okay, so I'll probably try it day one. I'll probably try it, go live, try to test it out day one. I'm phenomenal. Like, I'm not phenomenal. I'm excited about this. So excited about the opportunity to play Last of Us without having to own a PC. Or God, I'm now stumbling without having to own a PlayStation, but having a PC. Because a lot of people, you only have either an Xbox or PlayStation. Most of the time, you're going to have that middle ground. That's the PC, the dominant thing. So the fact that now I can play Halo on my PC and maybe play the new Spider-Man games on the PC as well, I'm excited, especially with the news a while ago with Discord and Sony doing their stuff. Now that's even more exciting because that means we might be able to see more collaboration, and Microsoft is trying to get Discord on their consoles as well. They're actually almost there. You can now officially go on Discord on a web browser on your Xbox and still play games. Certain games you could do that with. So they're close, but versus Sony, they're actually getting it programmable in their stuff. But I'm excited about the opportunity to play Sony games and Xbox games on just one console. That means I don't have to upgrade to the next Xbox. I don't need to get the new PlayStation to get the new next best thing. I could just upgrade my PC until I need to upgrade it some more. That is, honestly, let's be honest, the cost of a brand new console. It's just you don't have to do it twice. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, same here. I like I mentioned, I had played Bloodborne with my friends for the first time, and that involved having to remote it onto my computer because my girlfriend needs to do her work in the other room where the PlayStation is, and I'm not taking the thing out, plugging it in. Forget it. And playing it remotely was fine. There's certain things I'll try not to be too picky about, but it was certainly not the ideal experience. So the idea of just being able to pick up that game and really be able to bolster, I think, the numbers that people who play games natively on their systems need. If you look at, say, like a big pub game like Fortnite, it would be helpful to have more people from other areas being able to kind of like supply some much needed extra pairs of hands just to how hard it might be hard to fill even a 4-person squad because you need all 4 people to have a PlayStation 4, but instead now they only need 3 people and me playing the game on my computer. So I am hoping that the crossplay is there, and if I'm playing a PlayStation game, that means I am playing a PlayStation game. That means I am accessing the PlayStation servers. So and this it ties into what we were talking about last week a bit, and talking about the slow but inevitable march towards streaming services. And one stopgap along the way that I certainly hope to experience in my lifetime is maybe to disconnect between the need for a console and the need for a publisher to make that console. So what I mean by that is, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, these are all consoles, but they're also experiences. It's the ambience they give the player, it's the menu choices, all of that. I look at Steam big picture mode and I think, God, I would love to everybody just did that. So if I load up big picture, or if I load up PlayStation, ideally not paying a fee for them, hopefully, ideally, but fingers crossed. And just be a part of like the PlayStation network without feeling like I need a PlayStation system. So I tend to think that consoles are in many ways holding back gaming, and I think if we can make our way towards the console being really more of just like a modular system that can be manufactured by basically anybody, more open source, take a lot more of the positive attributes of a PC. because PCs by the end of the day, they're not built to be plugged into TVs for the most part. They're built to be plugged into monitors to be used in a computer setting. But if we can get that, and then just let publishers focus on the creativity of making the games and not be caught in this hardware war, I think it's going to be a much healthier gaming environment overall. And then if people want to put out hardware, they can go the Nintendo route and try to innovate on the hardware side, come up with a handheld console hybrid, come up with motion controls, do whatever they want, and just, don't make consoles a necessity to have to access the content.
Yeah.
You brought up a funny point. I just kind of want to say it's a little off topic, but like 10 years ago, right, when I was in high school 10 years ago. And you would have a console. You'd hook it up to the living room TV, right? Or maybe your bedroom TV if you were privileged.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, like if you see a lot of kids or even adults, like they buy a console, they're hooking it up to a desk and to a monitor on the desk. They're playing it in a almost a PC like setting, like what all three of us are at now. And so the days of sitting in the living room playing your console are still there, but nigh. You know what I mean? So it's
because the only time that really happens now is if let's say you, your wife, and your friends come over, and you guys want to play something like Ultimate Chicken Horse or something. Then you would also go out in the living room versus sitting down in your desk. But unfortunately, because of people not wanting to get out and socialize a lot more, now we're seeing less of that, but socializing on computers. But I would never have had this growing up. It was out there in the TV with your two little cables that you plug into the front of it, and the computer was the joystick and this little red ball that said Disney on it, and you had 22 games, and that was game time. And you would try all your time to get past, and you never succeed.
As a Nintendo mark, I will say something. For the situation you brought up, having a Switch is beautiful. One, it's like the ultimate party console. There's so many things on there that multiple people can play and have fun with, and it's super small and super easy to connect and everything like that. I have no issue taking it from my office down to the living room, vice versa. It's phenomenal in that situation. So
Switch is amazing.
But yeah, Switch is amazing. I love it. I have this love-hate relationship with it because I hate the fact that they're now taking $100 a year from me, but I love the fact that they're taking $100 away from me.
The pain we all understand.
Speaking of money being taken away from you, we're not a big cryptocurrency podcast. None of us are really qualified to speak on the happenings of cryptocurrency. I think all three of us do some investing, but nothing really crazy.
My rule for crypto and NFT is to do it passively. Like I use Brave as my web browser. Brave generates its own cryptocurrency. They show me ads. They give me this thing called basic attention token, or BATs or BATs. I convert the BATs into Bitcoin. So over the course of using Brave for a year, I get $30 just like that. And all I have to do is just keep on doing what I'm doing.
That almost pays for your Nintendo.
I would rather have the Bitcoin. You heard me, Nintendo. You heard me. That's how I feel.
Back off Nintendo.
Some people, if you noticed, we've talked about NFTs before, and it's more commonly known nowadays, NFTs, tokens, because they're not currencies. Don't call them currencies. They're tokens. And they usually make them. They usually have these other funny names. Like there's like a MILF token. There's like other kinds of tokens named after other phallic members. But they all have something in common. Usually it's some pop culture craze or something, right? Well, recently this show came out on Netflix called Squid Game. Everyone loved it. Everyone enjoyed
Including this guy. I give it 2 thumbs. Well up.
And yeah, I need to find a way to watch it because I don't support Netflix. But if I am going to give Netflix my money, it would be for the show.
Sail the high seas.
Sail the high seas. Yep.
After
get the black cat out. I need it.
After the content Netflix put out. Yeah.
Yeah. So my black triangle hat with the Jolly Roger on it might be coming out after all. But so some guy got with another guy. They're going to be known as creator and founder. Those are the names that I'm giving to these people, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
They decided, hey, Squid Game is popular. You know what else is popular? Tokens. And you know what everyone on YouTube does? Token scams. So we are going to make a token scam. They made a crypto token called Squid Coin or something like that. Doesn't matter. You get the point. It's a Squid Game token, right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, this is awesome. This is sweet. It's going to be worth so much money. So a ton of people bought into it. Well, it shot up like a ton. I don't remember the exact number it reached, but it was a significant amount for people who had put in at the base level. They were going to make quite a bit of money. Well, one little issue. The gentleman I aptly named creator and founder decided, hey, wouldn't it be funny if only we could withdraw this? And so they did. So if you know about anti-whaling policies, it's what a lot of things have. Basically saying that, hey, if you own a certain percentage of the shares of these or a certain number of tokens or whatever like that, you can't sell all of them all at once because that would crash the market. Well, they decided that instead of anti-whaling, they were going to be only whaling. So the creator and founder made it to where only they could withdraw these tokens for cash. And there's plenty of like YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels, whatever like that, of people reacting real time, them watching the Squid token go up, 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 and then literally when the creator and founder both sell at the same time, just a straight line down, crash. All these people, some people put in a couple $100 because, you know, some people like with Dogecoin, they put, I'll put a couple $100, let's sit there for a few years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they decided to do that with this because they're like, oh, Squid Game's a huge pop culture thing, it'll grow. Well, what really happened is they basically took those $100 and lit it on fire. And then they threw it in the toilet and then continued to pee on it. That's what they did with that. And it sucks because a lot of people lost a lot of money. I don't know the exact numbers, but all I know is the creator and founder were both able to cash out at around $2,000 a piece, and that's profit. So enough people had to put in enough money for the tokens to sail up to those prices. So that's where we're at with that. So one thing I will say, we can't give financial advice. We don't know anything about financials, whether we say so or not. I said that because Joseph actually does know a lot about financials, but we are not a financial advice podcast.
Slightly above average, but I'm still, you know.
Yeah, that's what my
stupid.
wife says, but we all know the truth. So I say this in regards to, I hate seeing people lose their money.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you see a big influencer, YouTuber, anybody promoting some sort of token that isn't on the blockchain, don't fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't buy it.
Double check, triple check. Just keep checking. Make sure that it's an actual investment and you're not just giving somebody money.
Here's the thing about tokens and NFTs while we're at it, because I know Joseph wants to delve. We're going to go ahead and delve into the NFT portion of this podcast, and that'll wrap it up. This is going to be like the last big segment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with NFTs, tokens, and all that, you have to realize you're gambling. That's all it is. Gambling's not good or bad. It's what it is, right? You're either going to win some, lose some, or break even. Well, when you put money into these tokens or NFTs or something like that, you're gambling. And you have to realize that. So unless it's money you're okay with losing, don't put your life savings into it. Yep. But also realize that these people who are promoting these things don't have your best interest at heart. They don't. They want to promote it so that way they can make money. Whether it's for themselves or for people that paid them to promote. And we saw this with the Save the Kids token with the FaZe Clan guys. We saw what happened there.
Yep.
We see it happen with Tana Mongoose. She promoted a token, ended up being a scam. We saw it with who's that guy who's got really popular? Was it Aiden Ross? he flat out admitted he got paid like $250,000 to promote one of these tokens, and it was a scam. So it's like these guys don't have your best interest at heart. So just be careful when you're investing your money and know that it's a gamble. There are like people with Dogecoin have made a ton of money off Dogecoin, but then there are people who bought Squid token and they've lost a lot of money in Squid token. So just be wary of that kind of thing. And that's kind of where I'll end my rant on it. If you guys want to chip in, go for it.
I just want to briefly see how my Shibas are doing. I mean, Shiba Inus are they're my favorite dog. So okay, you know what? I will do like Lucky Charm investments or Karma investments. Just be like, hey, you know, it's my favorite dog. It's a token now, and it's not in Doge, which by the way, I know I said this on the program before, but Doge was also based off Shiba Inu. So I was like, oh, good. I missed out on the first of the Shiba Inu trends, but luckily there's another Shiba Inu trend. Boy, do I love cryptocurrency. So my opinion on investing overall hasn't changed since the last time we talked about it. I was able to have some fortune favor me. And there was a company that one of the communities I'm an active observer of said, buy the stock. So it's okay, I'll do it. I've been looking for a way to invest for a while now, and I got about $200 on my shares. So I earned about $1,000 of that. Had I put more in, I would have gotten more out. But then I thought, I'm going to keep it there. No, the whole reason why I invest is in case I ever get my ass hauled into court and I need to liquidate my portfolio and pay for a lawyer. No word of lie. That is where my conservatism comes from. When it comes to cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is probably the only real one that I think is like 100% safe, and that's because of its legacy. Most of the other ones, at least from my understanding, is they can all be replaced by something more efficient. We're basing their efficiency off metrics that, as we understand them, but those metrics can change. It's like investing in gigabytes, not knowing that terabytes was coming down the pipe. Investing in terabytes, not knowing whatever it is that's coming next. So what's come next might not be the destination. It might be a continuation. It's a lot of understanding cryptocurrency and NFTs. It will tie into your ability to forget a lot of what we understand about technology and be able to wrap our brains around this new, seemingly infinitely quantifiable concept. I'm surprised that I got as far as I did. So if any, again, not a financial podcast, not giving financial advice. However, I would recommend for people who are like wanting a little bit of safety in terms of what coins to look into is go to something like Coinbase, because that's an exchange. Yeah. So if a coin is on there, at least it's been somewhat legitimized by the community at large. However, Coinbase is not a wallet, it's an exchange. So if you want to protect your assets, you have to get your own hardware wallet, which is either something to store on your PC or an actual physical device, like a USB stick, which is on my to-do list.
Yeah. There's rumors that there's going to be like Bitcoin ATM type things coming into Walmarts and stuff like that in the near future. So, like you said, Bitcoin is the only quote unquote legitimized one, and when you're looking at these tokens and stuff like that, you also have to look at utility. NFTs have utility behind it because it's an actual thing. It's not a real life thing, but it's a thing nonetheless, right?
Yeah.
So it has utility behind it, whereas some of these tokens really, they're made and they're bought on a whim. They're not.
Yeah, they basically become bottle caps.
Yes.
And for somehow the bottle cap happens to be popular for some reason. There you go. So do you want to stake your claim on bottle caps? I don't know.
Yeah. And with NFTs, I was explaining to someone at work today it was like actually Friday, but they were asking about NFTs, and I tried to explain to them it's basically like how baseball cards were 20 years ago. That's how NFTs are now. So if you want to buy the digital drawing of the monkey being railed by a cow for $1,000, right?
Not too much.
Let's say you buy it for $1,000, but in 20 years, that thing could be worth 30 grand. You don't know. Same thing in 20 years ago. The Babe Ruth rookie card was worth nothing when it first came out because baseball cards are worth nothing when you first buy them, right? But, look at the kind of legacy that Babe Ruth left behind. Now, if you found one of his cards in the 1990s, you basically were able to buy a house with that. You know what I mean? And that's how NFTs are now. Yep. You're either going to strike gold or you're going to have something that is hopefully at least worth the money you paid for it.
Yeah, and I think the confusing part about NFTs is people immediately assume, like, let's say me and let's say FaZe Rug. We both sat there. We both get
immediately don't trust it, but okay.
Piece of paper. Oh, I don't trust it either. So we both get a piece of paper that has a picture of a cow kissing the moon on it. If he signs it and I sign it, people immediately go to, that's an NFT right there. That is, yes, it's true, but it's not true. And that's what people keep getting confused. That's not what an NFT is.
Yeah. Because that's a fungible thing, because it's a physical piece of paper.
Exactly.
That's the whole fungible part in non-fungible tokens.
Exactly. So
also relates to it being a one of one.
Yeah. And so that's where that is. So wanted to make sure that was cleared up, and because I know a lot of people get that confused. I was talking to my sister about it earlier today, and she was getting confused by it. So I wanted to make sure that was stated on the difference of NFTs. But if you're going to invest, and once again, this is not a podcast where you really want to learn how to invest in stuff, but if you're going to invest, just do your research. I highly recommend, though, doing safe options like going Robinhood. That's a good start. When you sign up, you can get like $5 immediately to start working with that. If you want to play with the markets and stuff like that, shut up. If you want to play with the markets and stuff, you could do that, or you could put it in the long term. So I would just go in slow or be James and hit it hard and fast.
Oh, hell yeah. No, so I started Robinhood, right? Mm-hmm. And they said you could get a stock up to $5, and it shows you like 3 cards. It's like, pick a card, and you up to $5. I pick one. It's worth like $1.84, and there's like 3 different options. I picked the one, and it was like this. You got this stock, and it was worth $1.84. Yep. I'm like, cool.
Did you flip it immediately?
Huh?
Did you get an immediate return out of it?
I immediately put it into the other thing I bought, which I'll tell you guys after the podcast, because it's actually something I believe in, and it's something that is doing pretty good.
I'm actually confident that you and I bought the same thing.
I don't know if we did.
Okay. All right. We'll see. I'm sorry to be secretive about it. It's not like actually. So this is a tangent, but so my girlfriend and I we did have some money together because we do want to own property, and we realized that if we keep the money in our savings account, the growth was actually not keeping up with inflation. And these days, truer words could not have been spoken. And so we moved it over into mutual funds. With a credit union by the name of Meridian, and he said that so our mutual funds, we do a little more research. We try to have more ethical businesses to invest in. Some of these other bigger banks, they tend to invest in weapons and pornography. Mm-hmm. Huh? I didn't expect that on my bank. Go put some more money into them too, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder that he could have just been fluffing you up, though. You know what I mean? You know how slimy salesmen are.
I like the term. He could have been fluffing you up. He's gonna fluff you up.
I love that word because it could mean anything.
Yeah, and I take it sexual.
Something about just having used the word pornography, and then you had to say that. That's kind of where I'm stuck.
Yep.
Yeah, like when you take a picture for the homies, you got to fluff yourself up. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna take a half nude and send it to all of you guys. I'm gonna send this
you
podcast
are blocked now?
to everyone I know.
Is that a node?
A node? Is it the top half or bottom half? Or which half are we getting?
I peeked before we turned this recording on. That was the problem. That's such a good joke for
That's why we should just shut it. Guys, there's a lot of before and after podcast stuff. So maybe in the future, whenever we make this bigger, there might be an extension to the podcast. Keyword in the future. That's not today. You would not learn our secrets.
Jordan using the word extension and bigger in the same sentence.
It's still so
When
sad down
gives you a
there.
needle, you must become the sewing machine.
Wow, James, you know what's great about this podcast is you can listen to it almost everywhere. That's
Yeah,
insane.
you could listen to iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. That's none of our business.
But
But if you want to tell me, you can.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
you can also find the video form of it on YouTube at Score Hunter Pod. Pretty cool. That's actually where I listen because I have YouTube Premium, so I could still lock my phone and it'll play in the background, and I'm already
Nice.
on YouTube.
Smart.
So-
boy.
They used to give that feature for free.
Yeah, they used to, and then they said, "Psych."
Wait, you want to? Whoop.
Well, speaking of, actually, I can't think of anything to say psych for. But like I said, audio platforms, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast from. Video platform, you can find it on YouTube at Score Hunter Podcast, and it's still on Facebook, I believe, right?
Yeah,
At
it's still on Facebook.
Score Hunter Podcast on Facebook.
Yep.
Cool. That's awesome. And what else is awesome is the fact that this podcast was brought to you by Anchor. If you want to start a podcast, very easy to do so. Send your form or files out to all the major audio platforms, and you can pay almost immediately for every listen. It's pretty cool. And you can get started today with the mobile app or online at anchor.fm. They're pretty cool, I guess. And if you want to find our lovely friends, you can find Joseph at
GiantEnemyCompany.com. That's where you can see links to the stuff that I get to. And sneak peek, I've done some calculations and I have other websites, but I'm going to shut them down and kind of move everything into Giant Enemy Company just to save on costs, and also it'll all be there. So I'm not minimizing my presence. I'm just consolidating. And I am also the host of an e-commerce podcast that talks about all sorts of great things, occasionally blockchain, occasionally debating God, but mostly e-commerce. That is EComOnyx, ECOMONICS. You could type that into Google. Google tells you, are you sure you didn't mean to spell it ECOM? I can't do that part. Tell them no, Google, not this time. And then use a different search engine.
use DuckDuckGo or Opera GX.
Just say no.
And you can also find my other friend, Jordan.
You can find me at Skull Hunter Games on YouTube and Facebook. We do a lot of crazy stuff on both platforms. Highly recommend following both of them. And our TikTok is where things are starting to really kick off, so make sure you go and follow that end. And that's really all the socials. And guys, we made it another podcast. Episode 3. Let's go. Let's go, episode 3.
Too many. And you can find
Too many.
me. You can find me at The Architect on Twitter and YouTube. And that's basically all you can find me, because you find me anywhere else, I'm blocking you.
Oh, snap!
Oh.
So outside your house.
Wait a minute. I did buy Doge coins. Yeah, I got 22 Doge.
Well,
I don't even remember doing this.
all right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we hope to see you back. And we should have a good episode next week. We have a new guest lined up. Maybe we'll see what happens, but we're excited to have them, and they might be excited to be here. I doubt it, but we're sorry for that. We'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. They're always excited the first time.
Is up by 4.60%, and Stellar Lumens, which is XLM, is up by 2.7%.
I'm up 69.420%.
Anal.
She are up by 2.86%. And